Hey guys. So I don't have a lot of time. I gotta go inside. It's about to be bedtime. So it's gonna be a short one, and there's a much longer version of this in tonight's moon circle. So if you're in the moon circle, you can go watch the replay of that. But I wanted to share at least part of what came through, because I feel like it just feels like it's for more people. And that is this idea, this thought that I think a lot of people are having right now, which is that you did something, you messed up, that God is mad at you, that spirit is mad at you, that you have followed your intuition, that you followed a path, that you have followed what you thought you were led to do, and kept leading to problems, closed doors, issues, things not working out, dead ends, essentially, like a series of dead ends that have been going on for the last several months for a lot of you. And you may have even thought, well, is the universe mad at me? Are spirits mad at me? Is God mad at me? Did I mess up somewhere? Did I do something wrong karmically in another lifetime that brought all of this misfortune upon me? And the answer that came through in the channeling earlier and now is that what had been happening was many of you were stretched almost to the edges of the timeline that you were in. So if you think about your own trajectory as you're kind of following down a path, and along that path there's a dome or a bubble or something like this, where that's the edges or the boundaries of the timeline, the trajectory that you're on, okay? And as you grow in that timeline, you're kind of going on different routes and pathways along that trajectory, but within that timeline, okay? And what started happening was that a lot of you had kind of grown to the limit of that timeline, the path that you had followed, the deviation, or the little, I don't want to say the deviation because it's not a deviation, it's still within the timeline, still along the general trajectory, the offshoot, the thread that you followed, right? It almost what they showed me is that it reached the outer edges of what was possible, what was in that timeline. And the healing, the message they gave was essentially a hermit crab that had a shell, and the hermit crab had grown to reach the outer edges of the shell, and so it couldn't grow any further in the shell that it was in. And so what was happening was happening for a lot of you is that those outer edges of the timeline that you were in, might still be in, were being kind of pushed. And so what that looks like in physical reality for a lot of people is you kind of you follow a thread, you feel guided to follow a thread, and then it's a dead end, door slams in your face, it doesn't work out. It's things that you try, jobs that you take, paths that you follow down, kind of feeling you keep hitting walls or dead ends in everything that you're trying. A lot of things that you're trying, it's I'm hitting a wall, I'm coming back, I'm gonna try another thing, I'm gonna hit a wall, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna try another thing, I'm gonna hit a wall, I'm gonna come back. And that's what was happening to a lot of people. And that wasn't that spirit hated you or the universe hated you, it was you finding where the edges were and where the boundaries were and where the limits were inside the timeline that you were in, and realizing that you basically had grown to the extent that you could in the trajectory that you were in. And so now what's happening to a lot of people, especially if you're feeling more wobbly or kind of weird the past little while, is this passageway to a new timeline where you're essentially grown out of your shell, you've left your shell, you're transitioning to find a new shell through a passageway to a new timeline, where there's going to be a lot more opportunities for growth and expansion, and a lot more room to grow, a lot more open space, a lot more room to grow. And so you're either still in where this other spot was and you're working on transitioning, or you are in the middle of transitioning and you're kind of going to that place. And that's kind of where a lot of people are right now, in the transition place to the new, basically you've left the hermit crab shell that was too small, the old trajectory, the timeline that you had been in, where you had grown to the extent that you could grow within there, and then now are shifting to another shell. Okay, and in this transition process, it's like a portal that you're kind of moving from one space to another space, and things are not clear. Yeah, it's just moving through a tunnel, moving through a portal, and so there's not a lot of clearness until you get to the other side of it. So that's what's happening right now for a lot of people. Anyway, I just wanted to share all this. There, again, like I said, if you're in the Moon Circle, want to join the Moon Circle, there's tonight's group healing that we just did, gave a whole longer version of this, and some healing related to it. Totally like optional, obviously. I'm not going to force you to join, but if you're in there, there's like a way longer version of this there, and if not, then I'm still happy you're here and watching, and thank you to the 28 people who are watching these videos. I really appreciate you, and it motivates me, inspires me to spend my free time, which is very limited with 3 kids, and a full-time working husband, sharing what is coming through for me. All right, have a good night, guys. Bye.